Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the Rialto Roundtable. Um, we had a very good first episode last week. We're really glad with all the feedback that we got from you guys, and we hope to keep improving this little podcast as time goes on. Now, done with the semantics. I want to introduce you guys to our guest this week. You know him as the villain of Gopherwatch League this season. It's War.
Yes. I am proud to say that Flip Flop cut from broadcast. Anyways, hi, my name's War. You may have heard of me, or you may have not heard of me. If you haven't heard of me, please check out the Iceland Imps. This is Imps propaganda, and we love the Iceland Imps, so they're an awesome team. They're doing great in the league, and I'm on the Iceland Imps, obviously. I usually play main support. I got into Overwatch about 6 months ago, and I do come from an amazing game called Fortnite. Y'all should probably check it out sometime. I highly recommend. We have a Fortnite team at the U. I'm also that team captain. Join Fortnite. Please, we need Fortnite.
Who is this we we're talking about? We love the Iceland Imps?
We is the Iceland Imps and everybody in Gopherwatch League, obviously. Right, guys? Right?
I'll give credit where credit's due. They got the best logo, so that's all I'll give them.
Yes. Yeah, anyways,
Merrick,
that's about me. Yeah.
Merrick
here, a very prominent Iceland Imps.
I am actually. That's true. I am an Iceland Imps fan.
I think Merrick might actually be your number one fan, War. If you guys, you guys could give a little kiss to each other, on the webcams.
I don't know how we're going to make that happen.
It's gonna be cut, and then we're gonna be going the wrong ways to each other.
I trust editor Riddle Dog to help us out here. Anyways, thank you, War, for the nice introduction. Now we'll go on and talk about some of the matches from this week. First up on the list is the Awesome Anglers versus the Arizona OTs.
Yeah, and I think this match was definitely very interesting because I think the score doesn't reflect what actually happened for a lot of reasons. First of all, you had Bonesy playing a little bit over SR comp, which means that I believe they're having the score differential be 0-0 for these maps. It was a 3-0, but despite that, and despite them playing an over SR comp, the first two maps of Ilios and King's Row were really, really, really close. Like, it was back and forth battles. I could have seen either team winning. I believe the control map went 2-1 in the favor of the Anglers, and then the King's Row went to double overtime. And I think this map is cool because it really got to show two teams that had a very, very good brawl comp and seeing how they would sort of fight against each other. And it looked like the Awesome Anglers had the advantage, but that didn't mean the OTs were necessarily doing poorly. They were still making plays. They were still doing big things. It was just a little bit behind is how I felt.
Yeah, this was definitely a different Anglers than what we saw last week. They really came out swinging here. Obviously, it helps that they did have Zelos this week. Zelos obviously really good on support, and it enabled them to actually have a good Lucio player on that team. But also from conversations that I had with Bonesy, he was talking about how the team has a lot better communication, and actually the team felt a lot more like a team in this series. So yeah, it's really awesome to see that fast turnaround. That's what can happen in the Gopherwatch League all the time. Sometimes it just takes like another scrim or just one more game.
It's
and then
first
boom,
week, like, I don't know, a lot of teams are scrimming to figure stuff out. They'll be changing all the time.
100%.
I definitely think that the Anglers that we saw this week was probably the Anglers the majority of people expected to see in week 1. So it is nice to see them like really living up to their potential. I think Sonic Chronic this week and Mighty Dwarf really showed up to play. Their impact was definitely felt on the team. Overall, just like a crazy improvement. So.
Yeah, Sonic Chronic especially, really important to give that guy a shout out. Absolutely insane. Really went to even with Rusty on the off tank role. He's absolutely absurd for his SR. Truly impressive. I believe when I was watching the cast too, the casters were giving him a lot of props as well. Sonic Chronic, just an outstanding player. Now let's go on to the next match. We got the Iceland Imps versus the Pokhara Pushins, two teams that rated pretty highly going into this.
Yeah, I think the power of the Imps lineup is something that is not lost on anyone in the community. But I think in addition to being a very strong roster, the Imps are a team that is just very capable of adapting to the circumstances and sort of rolling out on a comp, seeing what works, what doesn't work, and then making the appropriate changes to sort of like get the upper hand in a lot of these fights. I think that especially on Kings Row, which was the second map, um, just the team synergy between specifically the main tank and Captain Trey and flex support Sly was very evident and very clear and just completely oppressive on that map. Um, I think that I should probably give a shout out to the Pushins for taking Havana. Purple Jesus in particular really showed up on that map, I think. So the end score did end up being 3-1, but the Imps still look like a very strong team.
Yeah, I also believe I did see a couple hammer kills in that series, maybe. I
Yeah.
Well,
believe
it's Fedora in there, so yeah, you're gonna see like three, or
three
we should even
hammer
count.
kills.
That's like
You
rookie
gotta
numbers
love
for him.
Fedora here. You were
That's
talking about how they're so good. Sorry, Marco. You were talking about how they're so good at adapting, Merrick. But all I can think of is how Fedora talks about how he just locks to Torbjorn,
well,
and
they adapt around him. How about that?
Right, if it works.
yeah,
Look,
I absolutely love that team. Super fun
The
team.
Ames just put all their budget like getting just poaching players. They got rid of their logo budget and just uses it to pick up a barely legal roster.
Yeah, I mean this is really reminiscent of the Rats, I think, from season 2. But I think the Imps are a fan favorite right now. So, War, you got any thoughts on your own team?
I
You're
got
allowed
a
to
lot.
speak.
I got a lot of thoughts on my own team. I'm just waiting for the chance to come in. You know, some sweet way
He's
to
getting
end it.
emotional. He loves to talk about his
Oh
team.
my gosh, my team! I love my team. Oh my god, they're amazing. Anyways, yeah, I could say they're somewhat like the St. Michael Hawks of season 5 or any of the dominant teams. But I think the main difference is, I think it's in my opinion, it's gonna be the SR sync, and I think SR sync of me and Charbatron is actually super clinical because we actually can't even build a roster that goes like over SR. It's like physically impossible.
Wow.
So we're not like the super strong SR team. We're a team that operates very well as a whole, and I think it's through practice, through communication, and through obviously the MVP of that match and my proud captain Trey. He's so good at analyzing any situation. No matter what they throw at us, we will be ready. And that is a promise. That is an Iceland Imps promise. Trademark.
You would happen to know like
Final.
what the SR is for like your rosters? Do you?
I can tell you the highest roster you can run, which would be me. Wait, hang on, give me 2 seconds. The highest SR roster you could run, which would be me and Sly, would be.
A support, yeah,
I
a support.
gotta find
For
it.
those who don't know, for the
Yes, me and
uneducated.
Sly's support would be 3,193. Is
That's
the highest
fairly low.
possible
That's like
we
60
could.
SR. Now, there are some rosters that'll just literally skirt on 3250. So I thought that
Yeah.
would be one of those rosters, but apparently not. So impressive, honestly.
Yeah, that is our highest possible one. We're never over 3,200 in overall comp. So yeah.
Honestly, though, when you have the Fortnite god himself, War, and Charbotron with the absolute PMA from any position, that it's basically like having two 5,000 rated players on your team. So
Easily.
that team is just has no weak links anywhere. SR sinks, but honestly, they compete just as well as everyone else does. I'm super impressed by that team. Anyways, on to the next match. We have the Fiji Frogs and the Chicago Cats, and I think one of the most interesting things that happened this match is the Frogs didn't actually win Ilios. Everyone was really. I remember there was conversation about, wow, I feel so bad for who faces the Frogs when Ilios is the map of the week, right? Because you have Wags on Hog, and you have obviously Frog on the Lucio, Frog on the Frog. Like it just seems like it's there's no way that you can beat that team on Ilios, but the Chicago Cats they found a way to make it work.
Unfortunately, put all their stocks on that map and that map alone.
I mean, technically a little bit of stocks on Dorado too, as the series did
Mhm.
end up being 3-2 in the favor of the Frogs. But I think we're going to see this a
Oh, that
lot
was
from the
3-1. My
Frogs.
bad. I thought it was 3-1.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I believe that was the only 3-2 of the week as well. But I think we're gonna see this a lot from the Frogs, just because it's so unconventional. I don't think we can really expect anything from the Frogs because a lot of their SR is naturally put into their support line because they do have Frog on the Frogs. It's confusing, but we go with it. But I am interested to just see how this team evolves because they are 1-1 in the overall standings right now. They have consistently done well, but every single one of these maps that they're playing, it's always close. It's never like somebody's dominating one way or somebody's dominating the other way. It's always close, and it always feels like the Frogs are just like kind of just moving around and just doing whatever they can to, skirt by. And they obviously skirted by this week pretty well with the victory.
Did,
yeah.
did, did
Honestly,
Frog? Sorry, remind me chiming in. Did Frog play
you can go
like?
ahead.
Did Frog play like main support for? That's he played main. I'm guessing he played main for that Ilios map, right? I didn't watch
Not
it,
sure.
so
None of us watched it. I'm
just
not
because
gonna lie.
I know like the Frogs have been like experimenting with them putting Frog either on main support or flex support. They're trying to figure out which one's best, maybe situational. And unfortunately, I didn't watch the map, so I don't know which one he played. I don't know which role he was playing for that series.
Typically, the Frogs, Frog will always try to run Lucio no matter what. On a map like Helios, I believe Frog just plays Lucio
Hmm.
because just the value that he can potentially get
All right.
is immense. But yeah, the Cats played really well too. Um, it's really unfortunate that this is the second map that the Frogs have, or the second match that the Frogs have played 2CP. I'm a little disgusted by the team if I'm being honest.
This is
Um,
also the Cats, I think, second 3-2 or
Yeah.
2-3
Mhm.
loss.
And it's
So
also the Cats had to play 2 CP last time, also on Temple of Anubis, mind you.
and I believe they also lost that
They
map.
also lost that map as well. Yeah, this is like unfortunate for the Cats at this point.
So as a 2CP hater, I can sympathize with the Cats. It's just bad map. Go next. But I do think the Cats looking like a strong team. Taking every match to the distance, they can definitely pull out a win here.
hopefully
Now,
get some wins, yeah. Because well, yeah, they need some wins for to get past on the group stage too to get to the playoffs. Because only top 4 teams out of 5 of each group go on. So they look like a good team. They deserve to go to the playoffs from what we've seen. Two matches of 2-3. You probably deserve to go on, but unfortunately the results aren't there just yet. So they need to get some results on the board kind of soon.
now next up we got the Emma Skies versus the Dorado Ducks.
The Ducks imp can talk about that. Ducks imp being me. Uh, Unfortunately my Ducks lost. My little ducklings did not win. Uh, Kudos to the MS guys. MS guys look strong. They won their last match pretty handily. Oh, fairly handily. I think it was let me pull up. Hold on, so I don't spread misinformation. Yeah, another 3-1, second 3-1 in a row for the MS guys. Looked pretty solid again, as one would expect from a team that has so much energy on it. But it wasn't one-sided by any means. The Ducks kind of like I was saying about about the OTs and the anglers, of how the Ducks and the MS guys also looked like kind of neck and neck for a lot of it. 3-1 doesn't really tell the whole story. I really thought they were gonna. I really thought that the Ducks were gonna pull out a win on both like Blizzard World or Gibraltar. They almost full held Blizzard World until they were disrupted by the disconnect, unfortunately. And yeah, I thought Gibraltar looked like another map where I thought they were just gonna just clutch it there on defense. But at the very end, they just like couldn't manage to keep their footing, and just lost it right there. But it was pretty close. And Emma Skies just have another solid performance over on. I think I like to see Fancy and the Hog. They just can't do more. And it was nice to see the Fancy Frobble Hog 1v1. That was very very entertaining to see those two duke it out because both of them are very good. So that was pretty fun. A couple of solo ults in there, I think, from one hog to the other. I think I counted a handful. So that's what I have to say about that. Very much like the hog
Maybe
when we
a
won.
yeah.
Can you say Adam? There was at least one whole hog from you on a solo fancy perhaps. Can you confirm?
I don't know if it was a solo whole hog, but I remember Gibraltar was going really well, but I very dumbly decided to whole hog in a server room, and
Mhm.
the MS guys,
There's
like
like
you said,
5 of them
synergy
there.
and all
Yeah.
that. They just ran in. They all just ran in and all of a sudden this whole hog that was just supposed to be hitting Jack on the Sombra and Fancy,
Suddenly, yeah,
the
three other
entire
people.
team is
Yeah.
there. It just poke and eye versus the world in that little server room. Um, yeah, we had a couple really close maps. Gibraltar was really going super well for us, but we just couldn't pull it out. And same with Hollywood. We we just needed to make things click that we
We
couldn't
need the
make
clutch
click.
factor. We need the clutch
Um,
factor, I guess.
the skies with Fancy on the hog. Obviously, it was extremely difficult for us to deal with Fancy really popping off this week. I think.
I mean, I think personally, I'm maybe a little bit biased to the skies because it's half the St. Michael Hawks and also my Fortnite duo partner in Jack. But like their synergy and their team just like clicks, and I don't know why it clicks. It just clicks for like weird reasons.
Well,
I saw
well,
Jack,
because
yeah.
you said yourself, a lot of them just have played together, and they were already clicking before, and you bring a lot of the same people on. Yeah, they're gonna click again.
I mean,
And
of course.
someone else recently pointed out, I mean, I think I mentioned before that the team is like constituted from a lot of Hawks players. Someone else pointed out to me that it's also season four's Water Bears, um, with like Akua
Oh yeah, because
and
Withering
Well,
and
Withering.
Akua,
AD,
yeah.
Withering,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's some master plan by HV, I suppose, to just merge the two teams, get some merger going. Is that like
Like,
can we get the not the FDA, the SECs out to make sure like this is a fair acquisition by Mr. St. Michael Hawk? I don't know if this is fair or not. This might violate some.
Many people are saying it's not fair. Many people are saying this.
Maybe we should
it's a
bring
well
the.
debated topic in the Gopherwatch League, whether or not it's fair or not.
Maybe we should have brought the SEC then.
But we aren't here to talk about the drama. Just yet, at least. Maybe another day. We're here to talk about the next match, the Troubling Trout versus the Welsh Whales. So the Welsh Whales, again, coming in, trying to find a win this week. Couldn't quite find it because the Troubling Trout were looking absolutely insane. Um, Yeetmeister playing a lot of tank as opposed to DPS. Obviously, everyone here, I think, believes in Yeetmeister's supremacy. Yeetmeister is doing a fantastic job. And I mean, Wrecked Cactus Derek is just absolutely popping off this season, showing off that he can really perform on the DPS role. Didn't get to see that much last season with the Cantaloupes because he was playing support a lot, but on DPS, Wrecked Cactus has just been insane. And then obviously Zucchini. Zucchini's been a standout this season so far. Super valuable for her SR. One of the best Anas in the league. She has just been incredible. The Trout, Orion put together a pretty solid team, it looks like, and they're coming together well. The Welsh Whales have a few kinks they need to work out still, it seems, but they're getting there. It looks like a stronger team. I believe they did have Cobalt in as a ringer for Grigma Male. Cobalt, for those of you who don't know, Valorant game lead, really good at Valorant. He participated in Gopherwatch League a few seasons back for a few
Season
seasons.
2, I believe, on the season 2.
He played season 1, season 2.
Oh, he played 3 as well.
Season 3 as well.
Yes, that was that happened.
We gotta get all the game leads from.
man.
I mean, we got like 3 at this point, but we need to start recruiting more. Just start,
Overwatch is like.
freaking out.
Let me put on my old man, my old man head. Hold on, right now. But like I think a lot of like the esports club people just like originated from Overwatch, like president, vice president, like Papa Truste, Tomer, it's myself, Booney, John Valorant, had like some presence in Overwatch. At some, I mean, yeah, he was in the Inter Leagues for a few seasons. I think a lot of the esports people really just came from Overwatch. That was like a big group, among others, of course. Is like a big presence in like League of Legends and Rocket League and stuff like that. But a lot of the leadership just has a lot of presence in Overwatch for whatever reason. It's just how it is in UMN, I suppose. Just a little factoid.
And in regards to Cobalt, he was really a terrifying player on DPS.
I hated him on Hanzo, man. He just, especially on King's Row,
he was insane. So
he just shoot down like the little corridor and like you always find heads. It was so annoying because you couldn't poke at all. If your Rhine drops your shield, it was like someone might go down.
We
Simple
definitely
as that.
saw some moments of Cobalt glory in the series, though.
That's good.
And honestly, though, I gotta say, really happy they played Rialto. I'm a big Rialto lover. Ring the Rialto bell. We don't have a Rialto bell.
Someone
Maybe we
should get
do.
one.
I don't
I
know.
don't have one.
Someone should
Our bu-
integrate a Rialto bell.
our budget's too
Um,
low. We can't afford that.
Please watch our
but
videos. We need more money.
We're not getting any money off
Subscribe.
this. We could probably get. We could break 1,000 views and not make any any money on this.
but the Trout did play Rialto and won on Rialto. So for that reason and that reason only, the Trout are my favorite team from this last week. Um,
I I think I made it exceptionally clear last week that I am very heavy on the Trout hopium. So I was very excited to see them pull out a win this week. I think that Orion's flexibility in moving onto that off tank role, allowing Eatmeister to sort of return to his old main tank supremacy, and having Lift Key really show up on the Hanzo, kind of made all the difference in this series. The Trout very much so looked like a much more comfortable and much different team than they did in week one. So always
Uh,
exciting to see.
as one would expect when, a team just starting off may not look as good once they settle in, maybe. So pretty pretty reoccurring pattern, I'd say. So
Maybe.
glad to see that because it doesn't happen with all teams, but I'm glad it's happening with some of these teams.
Yeah, and
all
the
right.
Trout did go against the Skies week one, so I don't think their record necessarily shows how, good they are, because they definitely are a very proud for a team.
All right. Now let's talk about the standings here. So, for a really brief overview of the standings, we have the two undefeated teams, the Iceland Imps and the Emma Skies, the respective 1 and 2 slots. Following these two teams, we have the Awesome Anglers and the Troubling Trout, both rank 3, 1 and 1 for both those teams. We got a lot of 1 and 1s here. The Dorado Ducks, the Arizona OTs, the Fiji Frogs, the Pokhara Pushins, all 1 and 1 on top of the Troubling Trout. There's interdivision matches that kind of separate them based on seeds. And then at the bottom, we have the two winless teams so far, the Chicago Cats and the Welsh Whales. Um,
I might eat my words. So far, it's looking pretty even. I know we have two winless teams, but the Chicago Cats did lose two matches only by did lose two map fives. So unfortunate for them. We saw the Welsh Whales. I don't know. The Welsh Whales will get a win. I'm pretty sure. I'd be surprised if they go winless. I mean, I guess it could happen, but I'd be surprised. I have faith in the Whales to at least get a win. I can give them that much. And then Chicago Cats, I could see them getting a win, 100%. They really, I feel like they should have already. It's kind of crazy how they got unlucky two times in a row, but it is how it is.
Yeah, they are getting unlucky two times in a row, and we can talk about the fact that this is the cursed team because it has,
Oh,
Oaks,
you're right.
Rage, Puppetry State. Like, it's naturally just like
A
the
bunch of
cursed
people who
team.
have been on winless teams before, yeah.
I really want to see them get the playoffs. I know they're in our division, and that means somebody else in our division will have to not get the playoffs. But I really want to see them get the playoffs, and I really just wanted to see them get a win because, like, it's just unfortunate.
Adam, divisionally, you don't know how these because like we have like the overall standings, but like divisionally, do you know like who's at the bottom for each division? Is that like a really simple
Um,
question as well? Is it just the two
yes,
wins
it's
team?
very simple.
Chicago
Okay.
Hats, the Chicago Cats, and the Welsh
So yeah,
Whales.
those two
Yeah,
teams.
Chicago Cats are Maroon Division, and the Welsh Whales are Gold Division.
Okay.
Mm.
And still time to catch up. Still have 3 more weeks, and
Yeah, and then remember that like some people have already had their divisional matches. Like I believe the Chicago Cats have already had their out of divisional matches, and some people have only had division matches. So it really depends like when your division match is actually inserted into the process, where that'll impact you more or less on the leaderboard.
Yep. So right now, if we were just to look at the division leaderboards for the Maroon Division, I believe that it would be the Iceland Imps at the top. They are undefeated. Um, Followed by the Awesome Anglers, I believe.
Yes.
And then the OTs would be after. Um, and then
OTs then
and the
Pushins. Yep.
Pushins.
And then the Cats
Because,
finally.
yep, the Cats at the end. And for the Gold Division, we would have the Emma Skies at the top, followed by the Troubling Trout, then the Dorado Ducks, then the Frogs, then the Welsh Whales. Um, so, like we just mentioned, there are interdivision matchups that have happened already that kind of, even though like the both the Pushins and the Frogs are 1-1. They are like a lesser 1-1 just because of the interdivision matchups. So um, we'll see how it plays out. We got a few very interesting matches this week that I think can say a bit for the standings. We have the Welsh Whales and the Fiji Frogs. Both of them. Sorry if you can hear my dogs in the background. If you can, but uh, the Welsh Whales and the Fiji Frogs both fighting for their first win in the division. Um, we have my team, the Ducks and the Trout, playing against each other to see like to break the 1-1 tiebreaker, see who takes the lead there. Um, the Pushins and the Cats, again, both teams fighting for their first actual in division win, and the Iceland Imps and the Arizona OTs should also be a hopefully a fun game. Um, and our interdivision matchup this week being the Awesome Anglers versus the Emma Skies. So this is a really good that's going to be a really good gauge to see where the Awesome Anglers actually are at right now.
I think that's going to be an amazing game. Just sort of just both like test both these teams because I mean I feel like I've seen power rankings, obviously the preseason power rankings where the Awesome Anglers were way up there, and then the MS Guys were like I believe fifth or sixth, something like that, and then the MS Guys are now shooting the top of people's power rankings, and the Awesome Anglers after they got 0-3'd at the start of the season, they shot down. And they've been such debated teams that I think this is probably going to be one of the best interdivisional matchups you could possibly have. The currently seeded second team versus the currently seeded third team.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of power rankings, how about we take a look at some of these teams and try to figure out where some of them stand.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I don't know about you guys, but I have a few disagreements with the actual standings, and there are some people that I feel like belong where they are right now. I think we would all agree the Iceland Imps are the undisputed number one at this point in time.
Yep, yep.
Let's go. I don't have to debate anybody.
um, and honestly, I think the MS guys fit just fine in the number two slot as well.
Hmm.
But once we start getting the number three slot, it's getting a little iffy. I don't know if I can really say after just one game of the Anglers performing if they really are this super team uh,
It's hard to
like
say just
Ward
with
was
one.
talking about.
It's only one, and War did say, like, yeah, what was what we mentioned. It was also it wasn't a stomp. Like it could have gone either way. So I mean, good on the Anglers. They definitely improved. I don't know if they're top three, maybe, but I think only time will tell if that's true or not. I could give it to the Ducks as well. I guess the Ducks giving it to number three. Uh, I think it's between them. I think the Frogs and the Ducks are like somewhat interchangeable. Those teams are very close. So if you wanted
I
to put Frogs like ahead of Ducks, I think you could. And I think if you wanted to, you could. I think for like three, like for you could probably talk about the Anglers, the Ducks, and the Frogs like in the same breath.
Honestly, I kind of disagree a bit with you, Marco. I feel like if you had to separate them into tiers, the actual tiers, I think the S tier would have the Iceland Imps and MS
Sure.
guys in it, and I think the A tier would have at this point um, three teams. I think the Ducks, no
Yeah,
bias,
sure.
obviously.
Done.
I think the Pushins, and I think the Trout.
The
Um,
Pushins, maybe,
I'm
maybe
not. I'm not too
the
high on the
Trout.
Pushins.
Really, you
Yeah.
guys did just destroy them, so who knows? But
The
I've
I'm
Imps are
personally
also
been
pretty
liking what
good.
I've seen from the Pushins.
sorry.
The
Like okay,
Pushins
so
are
I like
good.
the
I don't know
yeah
if
the Pushins
they're
are
like A
good.
tier. I don't know if they're A tier, but they're pretty good too. Like at least B. But like, I guess there's not much room left. So yeah, of course they'd be B.
I do like the Trout up there. I think the Trout are a very underrated team. I could definitely see them contending for overall three spot. And I think Anglers, I think they just have some. They need something to prove. Like their differential is 0 right now, and that's the reason they're on top. But that could also be because of the fact that like their differential is kind of scuffed in a sense. So you know, I could definitely see the Anglos upsetting the Skies, but if the Anglos upset the Skies, then that'll shift the S tier around. But until that happens, I think Imps and Skies are there, and Anglers would probably be below.
All right, I can agree with that. Um, so what do we have right now? We have the Imps and Skies at the tops, and then we have something like the Anglers, Trout, and Ducks following in the next tier.
Yeah, sounds
Is
about
this
right.
what's going down the list, though?
Well, I think this is where we're gonna start disagreeing a little bit.
I've already
Okay.
disagreed. Well, whatever.
Well, I mean like disagreeing really
Yeah,
hard with
with
the
the standings.
standings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I think the frogs and the Pushins belong here, but I don't think the OTs really belong in this B tier sort of situation right now. Um, the OTs really, I hate to say it, got it handed to them by the anglers.
You don't think it was as
Um,
close?
I don't think it was as
You don't think it was
close.
as close as Streets were
Um,
saying? Hmm.
I think the just some inside information. Um, I was a little disappointed in the OTs, and I think the OTs were disappointed as well. Um, I think hopefully they can regain some confidence, but this is a match that they were very confident they would win, and to kind of lose it 3-0, regardless of how close it is, that's gonna bring a crushing blow to your team, and I definitely don't think that they are on the same caliber as the Frogs or the Pushins. So if I had to give you my full tier list, uh, I would say Imp Sky's top, uh, Anglers, Trout, Ducks following, then a tier break, then the Frogs, Pushins, another tier break. Then you'd have the OTs, the Cats, and the Whales sitting all together at the bottom.
Well,
Um,
OTs, if you want a little bit of motivation, here's your chance to prove Adam wrong. You can rub it in his face after winning your next three matches 3-0.
Alan, you
I
know I love you, man. You know I love you. Just no, 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 not throwing any shade at you, my brother.
I kind of like the potential of both the OTs and the Cats. I know we had this conversation a little bit before about how the Cats have only been losing 2-3, and their maps have been close. And one of their losses 2-3 was to the OTs, and that match was close. In my opinion, it could be possible that both of these teams are just sleeper teams that we just have had unfortunate matches so far. And once they get a chance to sort of play against, a slightly better team and actually win, then they'll be able to hop higher, 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 and higher up on the leaderboard. The only thing is, I think the OTs are going against the Imps next. Yes, the OTs are going against the Imps next. But I think the Chicago Cats, I think they could prove themselves against the Pushins. I think depending on the research they do ahead of time and, the strategies they come in with, I think the Chicago Cats could get their first win against the Pushins.
I would have to agree. I think that the Cats sort of were handed two relatively unlucky matchups, but in both scenarios, I think they played really well considering the circumstances. I think that the tank line for the Cats, whether that's Cath and Transflect or Cath and Oaks, is very strong. I think they have a lot of clutch potential in etc. on that Widow. I think that it is completely reasonable that we will see in the future a really close map win from, or sorry, a really close series win from the Cats. I do think they have the potential to pull that out sometime soon because hey man, I think all of the Cats matches have been kind of too close to really call up until now.
I might eat my words by saying this, but I don't think we're gonna see a 3-0 next week. They all seem fairly close. I'd be surprised if someone gets swept. I think at least like if a team's like unfavorable versus the other, I think they'll at least get a map. But I might eat my words. But I looking at the matchups, that's my prediction. We'll see if that comes to fruition though.
I'm gonna predict against that strategically. We'll see
Really?
what happens.
Oh, okay.
Not
one
gonna
of you,
mention
one of
which.
you is right.
I'm
One of
not
you's
gonna
gotta be right.
mention which one I'm gonna predict against that, but I'm just gonna predict against that
But
in
like,
general. See what happens.
but like it's way harder for me to pull that off than you. That ain't fair.
I can
You should
I
say
can
like
only
they're all.
imagine.
You should have said they're all 3-0s. That's what you should be betting against me. You shouldn't
Oh, okay,
like
okay.
put your foot half in. You should go if yeah
Marco,
if there are no 3-0s, everyone gets me a beer. If they're all 3-0s, no beers on me. I'll get War a beer.
I'm 20, so I don't know how I
I
feel
will
about
get War
that.
some orange
Lemonade?
juice.
Definitely
Yeah.
legal drink, right?
Yeah, definitely legal joke. You got to be very legal on this Gopherwatch League podcast.
Mhm.
But I trust in your ability, and I trust in like the admin's ability to make these teams fair and balanced. So I think if we see all 3-0s, I think that'd be very, very unexpected.
That would be with how things have been going. I don't think this. I think we've been close historically. I don't think there's ever been a week where they were all 3-0s. We've been close like once or twice, but never. I don't think it's ever happened. I don't think it's happening this season. I really don't. I would not bet money on that. But
Well,
but
War, if given that you are our guest this week, if you wouldn't mind me asking, if you had to make a power rankings right now, what would you say?
Oh, me making power rankings right now.
Yep.
All right. Well, I gotta put Iceland Imps on top. Iceland Imps on top. I mean, in my opinion, that's the top team overall. I love them. I even if we lose the next 3 matches, we're still the top team. That's just how it goes. I'm biased. Anyways, next I'd have to go Emma Skies. I mean, they've lost 2 maps. However, it feels like every time they lose, it's close, and every time that they're winning, it's consistent, it's dominant, it's right. My number 3 is a little bit tricky because I think that there's a lot of teams on this list that like have potential. I think that there are like very very solid teams, very very non-solid teams, and there's a lot of teams right now that are 1-1 overall. But if I was to pick a number 3, I would say the Troubling Trout over the Awesome Anglers, just because based on the Troubling Trout schedule in the future and the schedule that they've already played, I think they've had some of their hardest matches already. And I think as sort of the games go on and they get to play against different teams, I think they're going to really start showing up. And Orion made a very solid team. Fourth, I'm going to probably say the Awesome Anglers. I don't think I can go against them. I think they might be lower on the standings overall because they're going to face off against the Emma Skies, and I think they may drop another map. I think they might be low on the standings overall, just because of the matchups they've been placed in. However, I am liking their promise as a team, and I'm liking just their potential. Now, this is where I think it's really close. I'm probably just gonna go Ducks fifth. Personally, I don't know a lot about the Ducks team. I haven't had the privilege of really casting over the matches or watching the matches, but I think Ducks, in my opinion, right now, are just like a solid like middle ground team, and I think they're a very, very good solid middle ground team. Um, and then I'd probably also cement in sixth as Arizona OTs. I don't want to seem like I'm following it super close, but I do think they are sixth. However, immediately after them, I'm going to make, I think, my first big flip, and I'm going to say Chicago Cats at 7. And I think I could definitely see the Chicago Cats upsetting the Pokehara Pushins next week. I think it'll be close for sure, but I can definitely see them having that upset. After that, I'm going to put the Pushins, though, because the Pushins did show up, especially on Havana, against us, and they did a good job. I think it just wasn't their week, and I got a chance to talk to Purple Jesus about how his team comp has been doing, and he felt confident in his team working together well as a team, and I like that. And that means I'm going to drop the Fiji Frogs to 9th overall. And this is probably going to be a lot for like people to remember. There's some graphics that like pop up on screen. It's like,
war's
the fantasy streamer
gospel.
stuff,
War's
yeah.
gospel
War's
truth.
gospel, yeah.
Future war.
So the Frogs, I don't know. I guess don't really know the players that well. I mean, it's Wags and Frogs are the main two, and I don't have the privilege of like knowing them that well. But I think if they have those two, and all their maps have been like very very close, and like they almost lost to the Cats, I would be comfortable putting the Cats over the Frogs on any other given day, and that's why I'm doing that here in this situation. And I think the Frogs really haven't done anything super, super amazing at this point. And then 10th is going to be, in my opinion, my consistent 10th, the overall consistent 10th, the Welsh Whales. I'm sorry, guys. I love you. Um, but that doesn't mean they don't have potential. I know Corey is probably going to be willing to scrim. I know Corey's probably going to be willing to improve the team as a whole. And I know as a captain, if the team is willing to scrim, if the team is willing to really bond, I think we're going to definitely see a different Welsh Wales than we saw in the first maps. Because when I got to cast the first Welsh Wales game, it felt messy. It felt sloppy. It felt like there was ult use all over the place. The second week was a little bit better, but I still think there's a lot of room for improvement for the Wales. So I'll have Wales at 10th for that reason.
All right, I can respect those power rankings, War. Thank you for getting up on the podium and letting us know your opinions.
War giving us
Um,
his weekly sermon.
And now
Hope,
people can hate me for my opinions, and I can become more of a villain. Let's
Welcome.
go.
so true, so
So
true, War.
true.
Anyways, I believe we've done enough talking about the teams of the league, their standings, how we think about them. I wanted to take this opportunity, War, to specifically ask you, um, I know I've dabbled in it a bit in the past. Marco's dabbled in it as well, um, and I believe Merrick has dabbled in it. Casting, obviously, one of the things that separates Gopherwatch League from a lot of other just regular like collegiate things is the high production value that we have. I guess you could say that for like
Yeah,
a
don't give us that
college,
much credit.
like a
Don't give us that
zero
much
budget,
credit.
a
Yep.
zero budget college college
Club,
program
yeah.
for fun.
Program,
No one's
yeah.
getting paid, and I believe you won best caster last season. Uh,
Yes.
and you've come in here, just learning about just drop something. Just learning about Overwatch, and you've smashed it out of the park with your casting. I've been really
Yeah,
impressed.
he for committed. Like because he did. Sorry, I'm stealing a spotlight at this point because had experience with casting before. But I want to give him credit where credit's due. Where he has casting experience, but not Overwatch experience. He was very new, so I remember I'd see him just like asking around for tips, like, "Hey, what's going on here? How do I learn about what's happening in these scenarios?" He was like doing his due diligence and studying up. I think yeah, there's his notes. He has his
Notebook.
notes to show the class. Overwatch 101. You can enroll now at Yeoman apparently. Professor Ward teaching it up.
That's me. That's
Yeah,
me.
Yeah, he dedicated.
but War, I wanted to ask you, just so far, how has your experience been casting for the league? And if you have any tips for anyone that aspires to be a caster or is trying to get better, I figured you're the guy to ask. So.
Thank you for all the compliments. I just got to say that first, both of you. Though you respect me and you give me very, very high praise, and whether or not I deserve that praise to be decided. But I will do my best. I'm gonna do my due diligence to give as many tips as possible. I will say I do have a casting background in Fortnite. I do cast the official collegiate broadcast with eFuse, so I do have a lot of experience with the whole production, behind the scenes aspects, as well as casting major broadcasts. And the one thing I gotta say about Gopherwatch League is the production value is actually amazing. Like, I know we do go to a big school, one of the biggest schools in the nation. I know we have a lot of talented individuals here, but I have never seen a like non-funded collegiate esport program that puts on a better intramural league and a more well-run intramural league than this. And that's saying a lot because I interact with a bunch of other schools. I know a bunch of other schools have amazing esports programs, and it is very, very hard to get a production and to get like an optimized website, an optimized Twitch, everything running this smoothly. And the stuff that happens behind the scenes, that's not me. There's a lot of people that I could be shouting out. I'm not going to go down the entire list. You know who you are, but they do an amazing job behind the scenes at making it so easy for me to cast. And that's what I got to shout out, first of all. But if you're talking about casting for me was kind of surreal. I remember it was, I think, halfway through last season where I was playing my one map per the usual as the St. Michael Hawks, and it was a very, very close series, and I was the one streaming it, and I was like, okay, might as well just like, try to cast it because I've casted Fortnite before, and I did an awful job. Like, I think I called the shadow, like Earth Shadow, like big hammer thing goes down, it goes boom, it's crazy, and
That's a pretty good call, honestly. Still, that's still a pretty good call.
yeah, and what I learned from that is that even if you're casting stuff wrong, the league as a whole is always going to be encouraging towards you, and they're always just going to love if you bring energy, if you bring excitement, and you could be completely wrong on some casting things, like I have been many, many, many times, but just because this league is so understanding and it's so encouraging and so uplifting, which I'll try to stop as a villain. I just got to put that out there. But just because this league is this amazing, it doesn't matter if you're wrong sometimes. It just matters if you're able to bring the energy and bring the hype on cast. And just to go a little bit more in depth in that, there are two types of casting. There's color casting, which is more like the analysis, which was what I do for Fortnite. And then there's more play-by-play casting, the more action-based, the stuff that Booney, I'll shout him out, does an amazing job at. And I try to dabble in both. I'll try to do whatever my caster wants to do. And I don't think there has to be like a set caster role, but if you're trying to get into casting, sort of look at the games you're playing, think, oh, what would I say? How would I analyze what's happening and sort of give my perspective to it? And what insight could I give the audience that I have that would be, unique, would be funny, would be engaging, and would help the overall production of the Gopherwatch League game as a whole. So I don't know. That's my spiel on casting. If you want to try out casting, by the way, I'm sure you could hit up either Fedora Master or Marco. I don't want to suggest you.
That's
but,
fine. No, it's kind of
Yeah.
my job so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hit up either of those people, and they'll definitely give you a rundown of what casting is, and it's honestly awesome experience. It's an hour and a half where you can just talk about games and watch your favorite players play some Overwatch.
Me, I'm the favorite player. It's me.
Yes.
Yeah, but thank you so much, War. I really appreciate how in depth you're able to go about casting. Um, I've always wanted to cast alongside you.
You should.
Hopefully, yeah.
We always try to
Hopefully
squeeze
I'll be able
in.
to.
We have a lot of casters, so it's hard to squeeze everyone
I'm
in.
just,
But surely we
I
can.
I haven't casted for a while. I might be a bit rusty,
Mm-hmm.
but not rusty Goomba. Rusty. That was such a bad joke.
That wasn't
No,
good
that was
at
a
all.
great joke. I was gonna make that joke if you didn't make that joke.
But yeah. Anyways, we were talking about Fortnite.
I wasn't sure we were going to talk about this or not. I'm glad we are.
I promised War I'd give him a little time to talk about Fortnite.
Let's go.
Gotta give him his platform.
When you mentioned people
Um,
dabbling about stuff, I thought you were talking about like Fortnite actually and not casting.
That's what I thought as well. I was like, I definitely have not ever played Fortnite.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I for one have been really interested in Fortnite's no build mode. Um,
The fun
I did
mode,
hear
as I
though,
like to call
War. I heard, War, from
Yes.
Saint Michael himself. You're not a no build liker. You're a no build hater. Is that correct?
This may or may not be true information to be decided.
but he
but,
pleads the fifth. His
here's-
lawyers
here's-
advise
here's
him not
the
to
thing.
speak on this matter.
Yeah, so Fortnite's transitioning into no build. I am awful at no build. I can't do anything. Like it's as a game mode, it's very very like aim based, and I'm great at the whole strategy of no build. Like I have had the privilege of coaching two very amazing and very talented Fortnite players. You may know them, Sent and Cowboy Jack, in no build tournaments, and they've done awesome in no build tournaments. But if you put me in the no build tournament myself, I just can't aim. That's my issue. Like that's why I play Lucio. Like the boop is so big. Like I'm guaranteed to hit somebody. But if I'm in Fortnite, there's no gun that shoots that big. There's no like rocket launcher. There's nothing like
Isn't
that.
there?
So-
There's like something crazy like that. No, this is the. Oh, what's it called? It's still aiming though. It's like
you might
the
be
Gatling
thinking
gun or
about
whatever,
season
the
one,
laser.
Marco. You might be.
Yeah.
Thinking
there
about
are
season one
RPGs.
for it.
Oh, remember like people would just like people would shoot RPGs. Like Alex could jump on it, and you could just
Rocket
go for like
riding?
miles on
Yeah.
end. Why'd they take that out?
Yeah.
But they have like it's like the laser gun. I think that's what it's called. It's just like massive hit radius, but takes like forever to charge up.
Fortnite's got everything.
That
man.
one out. Yeah, they took that one out. The meta's constantly changing, and that's why I love it as a game.
They
because
took it out.
Yeah, no, they did take it out because it's unbalanced, and people were hitting people for max damage.
I agree.
through walls.
It's actually a good. I was wondering because I played it like a week ago. Then I started playing it again. I'm like, why? I haven't seen this gun in a while. I remember it being used a lot. I remember hating it. Why is it not here anymore? I didn't think about it. But yeah, you're right. Fortnite has a thing where they just vault stuff semi-randomly. Forgot about that entirely.
Honestly, you were talking about how you have the there's the build division, there's the no build division. Where's the when's the imposters division coming in?
Oh, that
The
is a very
Among Us
good
division.
question. Yeah. So me, maybe some HV, maybe some Sent, maybe some Jack, maybe looking into some, Among Us division gaming. I actually just made a montage for me and Jack, and there are some Among Us clips in there that kind of went crazy. Like the beat drops, we shoot somebody with an Among Us gun,
Can you,
they
like,
get eliminated.
Share that like with the class at some point. Like,
I will
drop it,
happily
like, in the
share
server or
part
something?
of the. I'll share the Among Us part of it with the
Mhm.
class. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Alright.
Not gonna lie. Anyways, yeah, but yeah, Imposters Division TBD. I'll have to talk to the guys at eFuse about that.
Yeah, I know America's a big Among Us lover. I'm sorry. I mean, he loves Among Us, but I was gonna say Fortnite lover. I always have a blast when I play that game. Or it makes sense why you're so PMA. It's so hard to not be PMA when you have a game that treats you as well as the Fortnite devs do. Speaking of, got some copium guys. We got the Overwatch 2, whatever it is, release date, beta, open beta. I don't know. Some copium to huff on.
I think it's early access. If we want like our official, I think it's early access or whatever.
Junker Queen's kind of a baddie. I have some questions that I can't ask on air, sadly, but
I think it's very
Don't
close
uh,
to. I think with that, I think we're very close to ending this this podcast.
yeah, I think it's good to end it there. You know, we got some Overwatch 2 copium. Um,
That's
Obviously,
and that's how it'll
war.
probably
It
end.
was
That's how Overwatch will probably end with Overwatch 2
Just
Copium.
cut.
War. Thank you so much for coming
Okay,
on,
thank you so
taking
much.
the time out of your day. Um, I know you're skipping out on a scrim for this. Much
No,
appreciated.
we're rolling anyways. I'm not gonna lie. No cap. Like it was easy. GG's.
All right.
No, lots of cap actually, because you're capping the point in
Oh
Overwatch
my
Oh
god.
because you're
yeah.
rolling.
There, that one's a little better.
All right. Thank you so much, War. Once again, I think this is the third time now that I'm saying thank you. Um, Hopefully, you can continue your mission to destroying the Gopherwatch League single-handedly as the villain. But yeah, that's it for this episode of the Rialto Roundtable. And see you guys on the flip side.
See ya.